Raised by his elven mother as a single child, Denarian's mom talked little of his human father. Apparently he was a great man. Growing up in a secluded village, there was no religion or magic, there were barely visitors. Here, there was only the circle of nature. Denarian made himself useful to his clan as hunter, but he never stopped being distracted by life outside the forest lands, and his curiosity of humans often got him in trouble. Even more so when he learned that somewhere people could apparently do magic. Finally, and not unexpectedly, the day came that he set out, against the wishes of his peers, and ventured beyond the forest. Denarian found that there were many things he wasn't ready for. Currency, for one, was an entirely foreign concept to him. He also learned that people can be cruel and harm for fun when he freed and stole a wolf pup from a trader's cage. Yet none of this deterred Denarian from wanting to enjoy the crazy chaos of the wider world. When he heard rumours that magic could be taught in a faraway capital of a different continent, Denarian and Greki boarded a ship. They would not return to Orion for a long time. The stars were especially beautiful tonight, Lady Jaina Caldia thought to herself. The pride she had once felt at her accomplishments turned into a resentful nostalgia. She sighed heavily. It had been too long since she had fed, and looked up at Simon. Her mind was already processing her next steps as she led him to the large bed. She would sate her hunger, and in the clamour of her consort's unexpected passing, would declare herself in mourning and leave her estates in the care of the heirs to the dynasty she had created. She would take on the persona of Samantha, a young woman disguised as Samuel Ransford, a travelling bard. A mask over a mask over a mask over a mask. Common practice for the 900-year-old shape-changer. All that she had learned was that being long-lived just meant watching the people you cared for die. Nothing had given her the satisfaction she had sought. Not family, not power, not the gods, not even selfish fulfillment of her every passing desire. And so, after centuries, she finally gave in to wanderlust and left Orion in search for the thrill of adventure. Even when Finric Jameson was just a small lad, he had an affinity for helping those who needed it. It started with a small bird with a broken wing that miraculously flew again, and from there evolved into apprenticing at the local temple, where he learned the arts of medicine until his 18th name day, after which he travelled south to learn healing on the road. A plan put to an abrupt end when bandits attacked him and robbed him of all but his name and knowledge. Going from doctor to beggar, Faith was quick to introduce new opportunity to Finn, in the form of a dying dwarven man. And by saving the life of First Mate Usenthor, Finn was granted the position of ship's doctor aboard the Bleeding Crow. Here, he lived an adventurous life of scavenging, exploring and smuggling, although never killing. But more importantly, he lived a life as a trusted friend of Captain Josephine, the devil on the water, equally feared and respected. He would never have chosen to leave that ship. That choice was made for him by Captain Soren, whose dark history with Josephine Finn never entirely uncovered. The doctor was thrown overboard with no knowledge of what happened to his new family or Josephine, the captain he was slowly falling in love with. Instead, he woke up on a small beach, clothes torn and stiff with dried salt. With gritted teeth, he set out to find the nearest city and means for revenge. Waking up in a strange place, sore and nauseous, Nax couldn't quite remember where he came from, or how he ended up in this endless field of long grass. All he remembered was that someone or something had seriously pissed him off. It took him some time to find his way across this strange landscape, and when he finally found the city, he was starving and angrier than he had ever felt. It didn't take him long to find the nearest tavern, where he proudly demanded the guests make space for him and serve him his food. "I said leave, lest you be damned." When they laughed in his face, the anger was tempered slightly by confusion. Why weren't these peasants quivering in their boots at the mere sight of him? Nax raised a hand to neck level in a choking grip whilst lofting the other overhead as if cradling some orb. Nothing happened. Rage was now replaced by confusion and perhaps even some fear, as he snatched some food and ran, huddling in an alley with only a cloak to protect him from the elements. Slowly the realization dawned on him that he had lost something very important and that he would have to work like some lowly wizard to get it back. Stealing a spellbook and focus, he picked up a rumor. The royal family was looking for an object of great power. Something he could keep for himself, perchance? If you are a bandit in the north of Padina, you better watch the shadows. Tales tell of a carnage-fueled demon that will find you should you gather too much fame. The Grim. It has been some time since Noctis Reaver took on that persona. For him, the story started when bandits pillaged a small farmer's village he lived in, when he ignored the knife at his throat to save his sister. As he lay on the floor and felt life leave him, he bargained with death. You are willing to pay for your soul by servitude, and for her life with what is equal to her worth. With the dagger that slit his throat in hand, Noctis took up the mantle of bounty hunter and started the laborious journey of evening the scales. It was a few years later when a royal courier came looking for the Grim to get rid of some nobleman the king himself could not be seen taking action against.
His Royal Highness King Ansel would be most pleased to hear of your acceptance of this task, and would be most grateful for your services.
Noctis didn't care much for his employers. A soul was a soul. Completing his task with ease, he set out for the capital of Astrakani to collect his payment, and to collect a new unexpected job, one that required him to join up with a motley group of 5, who he introduced himself to as Reaver. Loving to play parts of mystery and intrigue, it was both mantle and name that Eridrean put upon himself. Leaving an unexciting life and a sad past behind entirely, he surrounded himself with the more magical and dangerous aspects of the Feywild, and became an emissary for the Seelie court, spreading the good word. Yet curiosity still plagued the Eladrin. Often he went to those big doors wrought from golden branches. No noise could be heard through them, but he knew court would be in session. There had to be another way in. Searching the ever-changing halls, a voice like a soft summer's breeze interrupted his sneaking. Lost a path? And ever since, Eridrean walked with renewed step, and in her name. His journey to the material plane began when he received a direct summon from her to find and retrieve an artifact of great power in the form of a book. Setting out, Eridrean infiltrated a strange and dull palace, working together with a group of hired humans. Dodging traps and guards, he managed to retrieve the mysterious tome, its cover slightly hairy and of an ever-shifting grey colour, and with a closed eye on the front. Wanting to quickly escape, he used the planeshift scroll that Tatiana had given him, only to feel an uncanny tug mid-teleport. And rather than finding himself in the Seelie halls, he found himself unceremoniously dumped in the bathtub of a very confused doctor.